Welcome back to part two of the ISSA 2026 Life and Times of Cybersecurity Professionals report. Again, this was a survey that ISSA did. This is the 8th publication of it, where they took 380 IT and cybersecurity professionals and asked them a number of questions to get a better understanding of what actual professionals feel and think how things are going right now within cybersecurity. So, in the first episode, we talked about 6 different things. Here, we're picking up with number 7. And today, we're starting off with security and IT have to work together. And I truly believe this. So, one part of the report that stood out was how much cybersecurity work is actually being done by IT professionals. So, some of the metrics they had here to back that up was 32% of the 380 professionals surveyed said that IT handles 25 or less day-to-day cybersecurity tasks. 33% said it handles 26 to 50%, and 25% said IT handles more than 50% of day-to-day cybersecurity tasks. So think about that. You as a cybersecurity professional are having other IT professionals handle some of the, let's call it grunt work, day-to-day, level 1 cybersecurity work. The only reasoning I have to that is because you as the cybersecurity professional, you don't have enough manpower, yourself or your team does, to tackle all of those items. So you're having to get help from other members of the IT organization that may not be cybersecurity professionals by title, but they are doing, obviously, some of that day-to-day cybersecurity work. What do you think about that, John?
Well, and I've said to folks that are in the support role, I've said, you are our boots on the ground, first line defense, first line, detection in a lot of ways, right? They are there right beside the end user. They know the end user. They literally, they go to their desk, they go to their office, they know where that person sits, they know what their pattern is, they know what's normal. So when it comes to seeing something that's weird and giving a heads up of like, hey, this looks odd, usually it's that support professional is the one that lets us know first, right? So there's a lot of that. But on the functional side, which is really helpful, is, and in our experience, for us, we've woven in security into the ERP, for example, where this is a new thing for me and for our experience as a security group, having them part of the business and understanding how the business operates to be better informed and more in line with what is happening in those business areas versus us up in the tower trying to say, well, yeah, you shouldn't have that access. You shouldn't do this, right? Then they're more woven in. That's really what I believe this section of this report is trying to say is the closer you can get working with those people that are doing the job from a security perspective, the more context you'll have to make better decisions. And a lot of times those are the IT people, right? So a little bit of this is the cover and move, right? Like you've got their back, they've got your back. Same thing with like networking, right? If you have a good relationship with your networking group, then you're going to be good, because if you have a bad relationship, you're going to run into challenges. You're going to have problems.
All right. So, some of the recommendations from this group in terms of what they believe could be actions that we could take to improve that security IT relationship within an organization are the very top one at 44% would be to embed cybersecurity staff into functional technology groups. 41% said automate processes that require collaboration between IT and security. 38% said build security oversight into IT projects. 34% said improve communication between cybersecurity and IT staff. And lastly, 29% said reward security and IT teams for common goals. So at first glance, when I first read this, I could totally see it, especially the one that states improving communication between cybersecurity and IT staff. I think one of the worst things you can do as a leader and you can do as a cybersecurity professional is live in a silo where you only talk to other cybersecurity professionals, you only work with other cybersecurity professionals, you're like a hermit, you don't want to deal with anyone else outside cybersecurity. Like that's the worst thing you can do because by you having a communication, having a relationship with other individuals, other groups within the IT group within your organization, it's going to make things easier for you. People are going to have a better understanding of where security is coming from, but you are also going to have a better understanding of how certain individuals or groups work and what they do in their day to day IT life. Um, and people are going to be more willing to work with you if they know you, if they've seen your face, if they had conversations and not avoid you like the plague because security is just the team of no's. So I definitely believe with that. I agree with the others as well. But to me, that one is like number one. That should be the number one thing you try to do if you haven't done any of this is build that communication between your security team and the rest of your IT groups.
Yeah, I'll just add to that that that's everyone's job, right? On the security team, that's not just the CISO, right? Everybody should be thinking it's not us versus them, but sometimes it can feel that way. You need to make sure that you're here to build relationship. The best way to influence other teams and to get support and help is to get them to like you, right? If they don't like you, they will find ways to work around you and to not support you. So if you push back and you're just like, well, listen, this is what I said, then that might work for that time. But in the future, when you need something, and trust me, you're going to need something, you're going to run into a roadblock. So it's everybody's responsibility to build those relationships, not just from the top.
Absolutely. And you never know when a relationship that you build with someone in an IT within the IT organization as a whole will come back and help you and benefit you some way, somehow, some shape or form. You just never know. I, as a leader, as a manager, as a director, like to hear when other groups say, hey, so and so from your team, they've been amazing. They've been great. They've been a pleasure to work with. They've been very helpful. Thank you for sending so and so to help us out with this project or this or that. Like that to me tells me, hey, we as a group are doing what we're supposed to do. Not only are we being available, we're helping people, we're helping solve problems, we're communicating, we're friendly. People come to us and ask us questions. So I think it goes from the top to the bottom. So definitely it's a huge plus.
All right. So for the next section of the survey, it covered the cybersecurity skills gap. And I think this will be interesting for folks to hear, and how its impact. It's not a theoretical impact; it's a real impact affecting teams. If you look at what the survey responder said, that 75% said that their organization has been impacted by the cybersecurity skills shortage. Um, 23% said significantly, and 52% said somewhat impacted. And here's some of those impacts. 44% said staff time redirected to urgent issues and incident response instead of strategic work. So, what does that mean? That means that because they don't have enough staffed, skilled staff in those areas, they've had areas that instead of working on the big picture and those strategies, they're fighting fires. And if you don't have enough people, number one, and if you don't have enough skilled people, number two, then yeah, you don't have the time to do focus work like you would like of how do we move the needle to be more secure to get us to where we want to be, which adds to increased workload on the existing staff. and adds to, these are the next results. For 37% said increased burnout, right? All this is like a domino effect. 33% said reduced ability to fully learn or use technologies because you don't have time. You know, you don't have enough people, you don't have enough skilled people. And so you're having to do more with less, and you're going to have burnout, right? 30% said less time to work with business units, which adds to increased human error, 27%, and 26% forced hiring and training of junior employees instead of experienced candidates, right? If we had the biggest budget and the biggest, right, capability to bring people in, then we could bring in everybody as a pro, an A team member, right? Um, and that's not possible. I don't know any team. I mean, maybe there are teams. I'm not saying is it's rare to be able to just hire all A players, right? Because of really all the constraints that this report is covering here. And if you were to ask, trying to think how to put this in a perspective of how can you find out if you as an interviewee are going into an environment that has a skill shortage, what questions you might ask. You might ask, well, well, I don't really know actually the answer to which question, but you want to tease out the people that are going to be on the team that you're working with. Where are they in their skill set? How long have they been there? How much training have they gotten? Um, and you may have to ask them specifically to gauge how you feel. You know, if they've been there 20 years, unless they're just dropouts and they don't care, which can happen, then they're going to be legit, right? You know, how do you evaluate anyone to get a sense of, are they a really legit team member that is highly skilled? You're just trying to find out more information about what they do in their daily job and how it works, right? You could ask those kind of questions of like, tell me about a typical day for you. What are you doing? If they're talking about, well, I jumped from this incident and then this thing breaks and then there's another fire here and there's another fire here, those might be some early warning signs to be aware of.
So one of the big things I'm a true believer in is what they listed here as 26% forced hiring and training of junior employees instead of experienced candidates. I actually like that a lot. And it's one thing that we try to do. We try to help uh build the next generation of cybersecurity professionals, and I only hope that other or more organizations jump on that because you hear this complaining, hey, there's a skill shortage, there's a skill shortage, there's a skill shortage. How many people do we know? How many people are we working with that are looking for jobs? If there really was a freaking skill shortage that was this bad, I feel like we wouldn't be having a lot of people just looking for work right now, like in the levels that we have. Not just people that we work with, but just in general. I mean, you hear things. We're active hiring managers, we're CISO, deputy CISO, like we hear things. So to me, if I had all the money in the world, if I had all the training, if I had that budget, I would focus on creating that talent pipeline where I could bring in, have more internships, have more apprenticeship, more mentorship, be working with the young generation to build them to how I want them, to teach them what I need them to learn. And no one's going to come in with bad habits or, hey, this is how I used to do this here. Like, no, like they are learning right then and there in your organization, learning your culture, learning your tools, learning your processes, your procedures. To me, I see that as a huge positive impact for an organization. So anyway, that's just my thoughts there.
Yeah, and the question it has here is, are companies complaining about a talent shortage while refusing to train people, right? So if they're saying, "Man, we can't find good people," well,
Yes.
are you helping build that pipeline like you just
Yeah.
described? Are you
Yep.
helping build them up? How are you supporting those lower, if you have to hire or you choose to hire those lower level folks that, yeah, they're not coming in with all the skills. How do you help support them to get there? Are you supporting them to get there if you're going to complain about it? On that note, the next section talks about how organizations should address the skills shortage. So this is from the respondents, what they believe are some ways to address the skill shortage. So Steve, what do you got?
Yes. So the top one with 42%, increase commitment to cybersecurity training. Number two, with 40%, increase compensation to be competitive. 36%, better educate HR and recruiters on cybersecurity needs. 32%, create or improve cybersecurity internship programs, just like we talked about. 32% again, look beyond IT and security professionals to find qualified candidates. So this goes to all of you transition people who are transitioning from other areas, other jobs, other careers, and trying to transition into the world of IT and cyber. Again, provide incentives for certifications and industry events. 31% work with professional organizations like ISSA or CPS or the Cybersecurity Mentors podcast, um, on job descriptions and recruiting. And lastly, 29% modify job requirements to be more realistic. And I think that is where we can tie the one that everybody complains about, where they want 3 to 5 years for an entry level job. Like, and this goes back to some of the things that they listed, right? Like, actually modifying job requirements to be more realistic, working with actual professional organizations who know what they're talking about to create those job descriptions and for your recruiting for your organization when it comes to the world of cyber and IT.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and the question here is, what would a better cybersecurity talent pipeline actually look like? And I think there are great examples in industry of what this should, in my opinion, and could look like, where it's normal to have an apprenticeship to journeyman type program. If everybody in industry got on board with that and treated cybersecurity as more like a trades type industry, for the most part, that doesn't mean you can't go get a degree, but for the most part, if you treated it like a trades type industry, this would be gone, because people could come in at that level, and these are already an established type of industry where this is normal for trades. You come in as an apprentice, you don't have like all this expectation. Maybe you have a high school diploma and you've got something, a cert, whatever, but then you apprentice. That's what you do. You learn from the master, you learn from the higher levels, and you do the job, and you do the job, and you do the job. And then you move up and you move to apprentice level 2, right? And you do the job and you get those reps, and you get those reps. Then you move up to the journeyman, and, whatever. And then you get tested along the way before you are vetted to be able to say, I'm at this level. This is normal for trades. But for some reason, cybersecurity doesn't have that avenue like it should. I'm not saying everything needs to be that way, but I think if that was more normalized, this would be gone, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one.
Yeah, if I had my magic wand.
I know.
All right, the next one. AI is helpful, but it's not magic. So this is, we've talked a lot about this. It's cool to see the responders to the survey also answer this question. And the report talks about how AI is a possible force multiplier, but is not a magic fix, right? And I have a whole episode. I've talked about this. I definitely am using and have used, and we are using AI as that force multiplier. We don't have to go through all the detail here, but just in general, I think I'll just kind of give you some of the data. 37% said that they are using AI solutions. 46% said that they're considering using those, which I would say, hey, you need to get on board. And 10% are not using. So that means over half are not using AI. And I'll just be honest with you, I don't agree with that. If it was me in those organizations, I'd say, look, we have to use it because threat actors are using it. We are behind if we're not using it. And I can see how it is a force multiplier. So my recommendation is you're behind. You need to start picking up the pace for sure. Um, I won't share all the rest of the details because I've gone into this, in the last episode, but just, where we stand on this, right?
We'll link that episode in the description of
Yeah.
this one so that you
Yeah.
can take a look and take a listen. Um, so moving on, so here are some of the common AI use cases. So this is how they're using AI. Those that are, this is how they're using it. So 50% of that group is using AI for automating assessments, scanning, or software testing. 48% are using it to predict analysis and risk scoring. 38% are using it for threat and malware detection. 37% are using it for network and security management. 35% are using it for automating software vulnerability remediation. 32% for incident response, and 26% for AI enabled authentication. So, one important contrast is that only 24% increased AI investment and adoption as a way to address the skills shortage. So, out of those, only 24% said they think AI is going to help with that.
Yeah, and like, again, back to that episode, I don't think it's a skills gap. It's gonna fill the skills gap, but it is necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for people that are trying to get into the field, this means you should learn how AI can support security work. Um, but don't assume that AI is going to replace the fundamentals. You still need to get your certification. You still need to do the hard work, get the fundamentals, but absolutely use it as a tool in your arsenal. All right. So this next one, I'm going to introduce it, but I'm going to let you take over, John, because I think you have a lot for this one. So the next item is the CISO role is changing. So this report shows that the CISO role is becoming more focused on leadership, business skills, and risk communication. So what are your thoughts there, John?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that are interesting. One thing that said that stood out is that the full-time CISO presence dropped, as in we have a CISO, from 76% to 63%. The virtual CISO increased from 5% to 16%, meaning we have a virtual CISO. For me, that's crazy that the CISO presence dropped from 76 to 63. I don't, yeah, we'll get into that in a minute, but 22% reported that they have no CISO. Maybe they have some leadership, but they don't have an official CISO. Why organizations use a virtual CISO, which is interesting. They don't feel like a full CISO is warranted. And they're exploring whether or not they need to have that, which makes sense. If you're a small enough organization, you're like, hey, do we need a full-time CISO? Let's figure this out. I do think the shift of where, if you look at the top skills that they list out that a CISO needs to have, is number one was leadership, number two is business understanding, and number three was technical, which makes sense, right? If you think that your job as a CISO is to be number one skill is to be technical, then you're missing out, right? That's not your job. Definitely understanding the business, understanding how to communicate risk, leadership, leading the organization from the security standpoint, leading your team, leading the charge. That tells you two things right there. Learning leadership is a soft skill. Learning business understanding, that's not a technical hard skill, right? Maybe there's some hard skill to that, but really it's more soft skill. Mainly to communicate. Communication is a soft skill, right? So the primary things that this survey is pointing out of the things that you should know are not hard technical skills. Now, I do think if you have that skill set as you've built up to that level, it really helps you to build on it, right? Those are Lego blocks. They're there to help bake your foundation that you've built to understand the risk and understand the technical side. Really supports you when you are communicating the risk and you are talking to the business and you're trying to prioritize and execute those things that you need to do from the leadership standpoint. So I wouldn't take that as a, oh, I don't need to learn technical things. Definitely not. It's a, oh, I need to, when I get to that level, I should shift and be shifting as I come up my focus and my skills and where I'm investing my time to leadership and to risk and business focused topics, right? So I'll
Yeah.
pause there. What you got, Steve?
So a few things. Another thing that caught me off guard was the full-time CISO presence dropped and the virtual CISO presence increased. So yeah, that actually got me thinking. For someone who is trying to be a CISO, who's trying to move into that role one day, this section of the report was very, very interesting. A few things. It says, hey, you are on the right path. You're doing a lot of the things now that you should be doing. There's always room for improvement. There are always things that you should be striving to get better at to improve. But yeah, focusing on the leadership skills, focusing on the business skills, not dropping the ball on the technical skills. But some of the others we didn't mention were management skills, operational skills to communicate. Well, you did mention communication skills, but management, leadership, operational, like that's people, man. You gotta learn people. You gotta learn how to deal with people. You gotta learn how to work with people, not only within your own team, but when you are in those board meetings, when you are in those leadership meetings and you're trying to, present what we are doing, or asking for what we need and painting that picture, where you combine everything into one, your leadership skills, your business skills, your technical skills, your risk management skills, all of that into one. So this was definitely a good section. For me, I found it very interesting and assuring. Like I'm on the right path. Got to keep going.
That's right. All right. Well, let's land this plane. For final takeaways for listeners, I hope you tuned into both parts. If you didn't listen to part one, go back to listen to part one. But what should folks do with all this information, Steve? I'll let you go first.
Yeah, listen, if you're trying to break in, not only have you been hearing it from two active CISO, a deputy CISO and a CISO for forever, but now you're hearing it from 380 random IT and cybersecurity professionals. Tell you got to start with the fundamentals. You got to get the right certifications. You have to get some hands-on projects. Networking is king, not only to get your foot in the door, but also to advance your career. You have to network, 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 network. Put yourself out there. You have to find mentors. You have to join the right communities. Um, and you have to take a step back, not solely focus on the technical aspect of the cybersecurity lens, but you're going to have to learn whether you're getting started or you're trying to be a CISO one day. You're going to have to learn how the business works, and you're going to have to learn how you can work cybersecurity into the business in the most, think about a river, in the most flowing way so that both can work and be successful in an organization. A security team and the business can do the business thing and make money. Um, so yeah, man, it's everything we've been preaching to you guys, okay? Everything we've been preaching. Keep listening. Reach out to us if you're looking for a mentor, a coach. Join our community in school where you'll get to talk to other people like yourself, other cybersecurity professionals, and just get after it, man. Things are tough right now, but they are going to get better.
Yeah, and let me encourage everyone that might read this report and think, dude, I do not know if I want to go into this career field, right? Um, yes, it can be challenging. Yes, it is not, it's never ending. There's never a done. There will never be, I don't believe, a done. We've won. Threat actors can't, they've lost completely, right? And I knew that going into this career. I knew that was part of the deal. It was not, I did not go into it hoping that we would be done and we would plant the flag and, we're all good, right? Um, I love this job. I love my job. I love cybersecurity. People can complain and whine, but, usually those people they're just not cut out for cybersecurity. It's like being cut out for the Navy SEALs. Not everybody's cut out for the Navy SEALs. They need to go work be a grunt on the line, right? And nothing against grunts. Don't send me hate mail. But like, yeah, you are elite. We are in an elite position. There's a lot of things you have to know how to do. There's a lot of training you have, and you have to continually improve yourself. And you have to put yourself in that position and continually help yourself, right? Even when you don't have all the support that you wish you had. So, yes, there's a lot here that, I don't disagree with this report. I am surprised by the folks that are saying that they're thinking about leaving the career. I'm excited. If you don't, like I said, I like new things. I like having new challenges. If that's not for you, then yeah, definitely don't pursue this as a profession. But I encourage you to explore it. Use these questions that we've given you and the data from this report to vet companies. If you go work for a crappy company, I don't care what profession you're in. It doesn't matter if you're in cybersecurity or not. If it's a crummy company, then you're probably going to have a hard time. You're probably going to not like your job and your career. But if you go for a company that supports your path and supports cybersecurity, and you have the backing and leadership support, then you're going to likely have a good time and want to be there and want to be part of the greater mission. And that's another thing with cybersecurity that you get is you don't always get to see how you are helping the bigger mission of supporting and protecting that organization. And you get that with cybersecurity, right? So you got to take the pros and the cons together, take it with context, not just from a survey per se, but definitely use it as data and feedback to help you find the right opportunity for you.
Absolutely. So we hope you've enjoyed part two. If you haven't listened to part one, go check it out. It's all good stuff, good information. We're going to be linking the actual study into both of the episodes, so you can take a look for yourself and read up on it. If you have additional questions, if you need clarification, you know, shoot us a message. We'll be happy to keep chatting with you and discussing and just talking about this. Again, take advantage of everything we offer, guys. Reach out to us if you need a mentor. Reach out to us if you need any coaching, any help, any guidance. Join our school community. When you join, you can attend the Friday hangout sessions where literally we're hanging out just like this. You, me, John, whoever else, you can ask any question you want. Talk about any topic that interests you that you have questions on. I'm saying this because we're offering all of these things to you guys. So take advantage of them so that they can help you land that job that you want, move up in your career, get you to where you need to be or where you want to be. And yeah, just keep going after it, keep hustling. Things are going to get better. And we're here to help every step of the way.
That's right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you.